Haytham Kenway is a very important figure in the Assassin's Creed series. He's the son of Edward Kenway from Black Flag and the father of Connor Kenway from Assassin's Creed 3. However, despite the fact that Haytham's father and his own son are well-known assassins, he for some reason became a Templar. What did Haytham see that Connor and Edward didn't? And what I've always wanted to know was what drove Haytham to becoming a Templar in the first place. Haytham Kenway played major roles in both Assassin's Creed 3 and Assassin's Creed Rogue, as he had a lot of interaction with both games' protagonists, Connor and Shay. Strangely enough though, Haytham still never got his own game, and in my opinion he more than deserves it and has a very interesting backstory that I would love to see explored further in his own game. They could have given him his own DLC at the very least. We know a lot about Haytham in the later years of his life, and thanks to the Assassin's Creed wiki, we know a little bit about the earlier years of his life and how he ended up becoming a Templar, and it would make for a very good story in an Assassin's Creed game. I always found it really odd how Edward would allow his son to become a Templar knowing all that he did about the conflict, and it would be so cool to see that explained in a game. And we can't explain Haytham's story without talking about his father Edward, who just so happens to be a very beloved protagonist of the series that many fans would love to see a sequel for, or at least more of. And a game like this is a perfect way to kill two birds with one stone. As you can probably imagine, Edward trained Haytham from a very young age in the ways of the assassins, and he always taught Haytham to think for himself and challenge others' opinions. That influence Edward had on Haytham is abundantly clear in Assassin's Creed 3, as he bestows similar style of parenting onto Connor by pointing out all the naive beliefs Connor's fighting for. And you would think that since Haytham is a Templar and ended up becoming the exact opposite of what his father may have wished for him, you would think Haytham hates the assassins with a passion, which isn't actually the case at all. Haytham understands the assassins. I mean, he was trained to be one after all, but he was willing to challenge the assassins' opinions and beliefs just like Edward taught him, and learn the irony and hypocrisy of the Assassin's Creed. They want peace, yet they kill thousands in order to obtain it. They want people to have free will and be free of tyrants, when in reality the people don't want free will. They want someone to tell them what to do and someone to follow. These were Haytham's beliefs, and is part of the reason he decided to become a Templar in the first place. The other reason was he was influenced at a young age by one of Edward's friends, Reginald Birch. Birch also clearly had a significant impact on Haytham. Birch often challenged Edward's beliefs, and the two were often caught arguing, and once Edward was killed by a mercenary, Birch took Haytham in and converted him to a Templar. So whether Haytham chose to be a Templar or was manipulated into becoming one by Birch would make for another compelling narrative if he were to have his own game. I'm also curious about whatever happened to Edward's daughter and Haytham's sister, Jenna, and Edward's wife and Haytham's mom, Tessa. It was explained that Haytham killed his first man in the attack that killed his father, as Haytham saved his mom but was unable to save Edward. So what happened to the Kenway family, and how did they feel about Haytham going to the opposite direction of his father's footsteps? Another compelling aspect of the story that I would love to see explored in a Haytham Kenway game. Not to mention, this game would once again include the opportunity to have Shay Cormac make a return, as Haytham and Shay worked closely to eradicate the assassins in colonial America and establish a strong Templar presence. And it would also help explain why Shay was no longer there to help Haytham and Charles Lee when Connor and Achilles took them down in Assassin's Creed 3. Haytham Kenway is such a compelling and quite frankly a very underrated character of this series. He was the first Templar to really make us understand the Templars and why they believe in what they do and what makes them better than the assassins in their own way. There are multiple times in AC3 and even in Rogue where I feel Haytham makes you want to side with the Templars over the assassins, and I think a game completely dedicated to his life and origin story would be extremely engaging and interesting. Not to mention, it provides the opportunities to include fan favorite characters like Edward and Shay, who could definitely benefit from more screen time. In fact, looking back, Haytham may just be one of, if not my favorite character from Assassin's Creed 3, and it just seems like such a missed opportunity to not have his backstory and journey explained through a game. I'm also kind of curious about the story behind his name, because in Assassin's Creed Valhalla there was a note in the modern day section saying it was possible that Edward actually named Haytham after the assassin Haytham who worked with Basim in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So that would be another cool way to connect multiple games of the series together. Oh, and I almost forgot, but I'm also curious about how Haytham learned he had a son. We know that Connor's mother kept him hidden from Haytham, but somehow Haytham already knew that Connor was his son when they first met, so it'd be really cool to see how exactly Haytham learned he had a son, and one that became an assassin assassin like his own father at that. The dynamic almost reminds me a little of Luke and Vader with Haytham and Connor, and I'd really want to learn more about Haytham's beliefs and the Templars of the time as well, who in my opinion at least seem to make more sense than the assassins of that time, in large majority thanks to Haytham and Shay. Let me know what you guys think about this idea and whether or not you think Haytham Kenway deserves his own Assassin's Creed game in the comments. I know Ubisoft won't do it, but it's still fun to imagine what a game like this could be like. If you're new here and enjoyed the video, I make a lot of Assassin's Creed related content, so check out some of my previous videos and consider subscribing for more in the future. Other than that, thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day, Assassins.